Hello my friends, in today's video we will take a look at Sony FE 24-70mm F2.8 GM2. The first version of 24-70mm GM was a little bit controversial. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't quite as good as some of the very best GM lenses. Version 2 strives to fix that and set a new benchmark for premium standard zooms. In this video we will take a look at the performance and the feature set of the new 24-70mm GM2, and we will try to find out whether it really is the new benchmark. 24-70mm f2.8 is a classic versatile focal range in every system. It is suitable for everything from landscapes and cities to portraits and product photography. At f2.8 it is suitable for low light shooting and blurring the background. The size and the weight is the first standout feature of the GM2. It is just 12 cm long and it only weighs 695 grams. That makes it remarkably compact and light. And that definitely makes a difference. Even more important than the weight saving is the balance. It is very well balanced even on Gen 3 bodies, and the whole combination is much less front heavy. The build quality is identical to other Sony GM lenses, which means that it is very good. The outer construction is actually made of plastics, but these plastics are very high quality and they contribute to the weight saving. Some of my G Master lenses are now more than 3 years old and they have held up very well, so I am not concerned about the plastic construction at all. The mount is metal of course, and there is a gasket around the mount. 24-70mm GM2 is comprehensively weather sealed and there are no visible dust particles inside of this review unit. It uses 82mm filter thread, which is typical for this type of lens. It is a little bit oversized, so there shouldn't be any vignetting issues. It comes with a reasonably sized lens hood. It has a release button, it is lined with felt on the inside to prevent reflection, and it even has a window for adjusting filters, so Sony definitely went the extra mile even in this regard. When it comes to the control elements, Sony went even further. There are no less than 9 control elements on this lens. The zoom ring is sufficiently wide and easy to grip. You can adjust the smoothness of the zoom ring using the toggle on the right side. Smooth setting is suitable for normal use, tight setting is great for slow zooming in video. Big thumbs up for this option. The focusing ring is also very smooth with completely even resistance, since it is a focus-by-wire system. Smooth focus pulling in video is pretty easy. I was able to do these repetitive focus pulls with no issues at all. GM2 also has an aperture ring, which is a very welcome addition. You can choose between operation with clicks and without clicks. Operation without clicks allows you to change the aperture smoothly in video. If you don't want to use the aperture ring, you can set it to a position and change the aperture in camera. There is also an iris lock, which lets you lock the aperture in a position. A FMF switch is located on the left side. Last but not least, we have a function button which can be set in the menu. One button is located on the left side and one on the top side, but they always have the same functionality. Needless to say, Sony went well beyond the full feature set when it comes to the control elements. So how about the optical qualities? As always, I have tested this lens with a very challenging 61 megapixel sensor in Sony A7R IIIA. Let's start at 24mm. The central sharpness is absolutely perfect right from f2.8. The contrast is outstanding. It is impossible to improve on this kind of image quality, so the sharpness stays exactly same from f2.8 to f8. There is a very slight decrease of contrast at f11, but the sharpness is still excellent. The corner sharpness is exactly the same. That means perfect sharpness and contrast straight from f2.8. Much like in the center, there is no room for improvement, so the overall image quality stays perfect from f2.8 to f8. Decrease of contrast at f11 is barely noticeable. The image quality is exactly the same at 35mm. It is razor sharp right from f2.8 with excellent contrast. That is as much detail as you can get, so the image quality stays the same from f2.8 to f8. Much like at 24mm, there is just a very slight decrease of contrast at f11, but the sharpness is still fantastic. The corner sharpness is again excellent. f2.8 to f11 range offers maximal resolution. I can't really see any decrease of contrast even at f11. There is a tiny bit of chromatic aberration at f2.8, but that won't be visible in real-world use. At 70mm, the central sharpness is still great at f2.8. The contrast is just slightly lower, but the overall image quality is still great. Everything returns to perfection at f4. The image quality stays perfect until f8. At f11 we can see a moderate amount of diffraction. The corner sharpness is also excellent right from f2.8. I have underexposed this scene a little bit, sorry about that, but we can still see maximal detail and great contrast. As usual, the image quality stays the same until f8 and the diffraction starts at f11. The overall image quality is phenomenal. Especially the wider angles are very impressive. There is not much to talk about, this is basically a perfect result on this scene with a 61 megapixel sensor. In real-world use, the contrast is actually even more impressive than the sharpness. It reminds me of 24mm GM prime lens, which is a very high praise for any zoom lens. There is some distortion. At 24mm we can see bowel distortion, which turns into pincushion distortion around 35mm. Distortion is fixed very effectively in camera for JPEGs, RAWs will be fixed by Lightroom profile corrections once it will be available. The amount of vignetting is very low though. The minimum focus distance is 21 to 30 cm, which translates to 0.32 times magnification. That is another standout feature of this lens. It is an excellent semi-macro lens suitable for wristwatches or flowers, for example. The image quality at minimum focus distance is also great with no signs of ghosting. Continuing with standout features, we have the bokeh. 24-70mm GM2 has 11 aperture blades, which is quite rare in zoom lenses. The rendering of the bokeh is indeed visibly smoother than with other standard zooms that I have tested so far. This kind of smoothness and transitions is more typical for prime lenses. That definitely increases the capabilities of this lens for portrait photography. Regarding the autofocus, there is not much to talk about. As expected, everything works perfectly. The focusing is as fast and as accurate as it gets with both A7R IV and A7R IIIA. Naturally, all smart features including bird eye AF and all tracking modes work as well. Autofocus mode is completely silent and it won't be picked up by in-camera microphone or by shotgun microphone. There is some amount of focus breathing depending on the focal length, but it is not terrible by any means. If you use this lens with A7 IV, you can turn on focus breathing compensation, which will completely neutralize the focus breathing in exchange for a minor crop. 24-70 GM2 is not stabilized, but modern Sony cameras have in-body image stabilization, which is generally sufficient at this focal range. It is a very light lens, so it might not be as stable as heavier 24-70s, but 695 grams is still enough for very stable footage in combination with both A7 IV and A7R IV. To sum up, Sony FE 24-70mm f2.8 GM2 not only doesn't have any significant weakness, but it is also outstanding in almost every category. To answer the question from the beginning of the video, yes, it is a new benchmark when it comes to premium standard zooms. The sharpness is basically perfect, the contrast is outstanding, and the bokeh is the best that I've ever seen on a standard zoom. Semi-macro capabilities are class-leading, control elements go way beyond the full feature set, and it offers all of that in a smaller and lighter package than the competition. The only two areas where it isn't outstanding are the focus breathing and the distortion, but it is very effectively fixed. It is indeed expensive, but not more expensive than other first-party standard zooms. If you have the budget, just go for it. 24-70 GM2 is definitely one of the best products that I've ever tested on this channel. So that's it for this video, thank you for watching, I hope that you liked this video and that you have found it to be useful. Stay tuned for more videos and maybe consider subscribing if you don't want to miss my future content. I appreciate your feedback in form of thumbs up or thumbs down. If you would like to ask anything or share your opinion, please do so in the comment section, and see you next time.